The 17 lies that built the mattress industry. The sales signs had been up so long the red ink was fading. 70% off today only, said the banner that survived 3 winters. Meanwhile, Emily's back hurt, her card balance ballooned, and the doctor recommended bed sagged before the first credit cycle ended. She called the warranty line. A rep measured a string over the dip and said it wasn't deep enough to count. Here's the part nobody tells you. This industry runs on 17 specific lies. They drain wallets, mask identical products as choice, and park chemical-laced foam in our bedrooms. We're pulling receipts, names, and human stories, starting with the lie that trained us to trust them. How the lie became truth. To understand how those banners became wallpaper, we need the arc. First came the origin myths: space-age foam, handmade by artisans, orthopedic, American-crafted. They didn't invent mattresses, they invented stories. Then retail learned to play shell games, MSRP anchors, perpetual events, and a carpet of showrooms that looked like competition but reported to the same back office. Finally, the wellness era arrived. Cooling crystals, detox claims, and wellness badges that meant less than they looked. A handful of recurring players kept the gears oiled. Conglomerates rolled up brand families so the floor looked crowded while the factory lines stayed consolidated. Private equity squeezed margins and poured money into marketing modes. Certifiers, some stringent, some narrow, some simply irrelevant, gave out stickers that calmed nerves without auditing the whole mattress. Influencers and independent review sites took affiliate bounties rich enough to shift budgets away from materials and into customer acquisition. What counts as a lie here isn't a typo or a bad night's sleep. It's a repeatable pattern that predictably misleads. A label that implies standardized firmness when none exists, a warranty that sells peace of mind but excludes the most common failures, a sale that never ends, a doctor-recommended halo that doesn't tie to peer-reviewed guidance, a direct-to-consumer promise that quietly routes your decision through tracking pixels and kickback link. Consolidation is the quiet backbone. From the outside, you see Tempur-Pedic, Sealy, Stearns & Foster, and a dozen buzzy DTC names. Inside the org chart, acquisitions stitch retailers and manufacturers together. When a giant completes a deal for the nation's largest specialty chain, the company can design, manufacture, distribute, and retail under one roof and still present a wall of choices that share suppliers, cores, and playbooks. Review a few corporate filings and industry reports and you'll see the logic. Control the channel, set the narrative, segment the same guts under different covers. Why do these lies stick? Because they map to how we shop. We anchor to the first price we see. We trust badges when we're overwhelmed. We want a firm answer to firm and lean on someone in a white coat when pain makes us impatient. We want to believe percent financing is simple. We want to believe returns are frictionless. They know that. They build for it. Here's the promise. We'll take each lie, show how it works, the stakes for real people, and the impact. Then give you a one-breath takeaway you can actually use at a store or checkout page. By the end, you'll know how to read a spec sheet, ignore the confetti, and test what matters in 10 minutes flat. To start, we go to the showroom, where 20 beds whisper choice, but the paperwork says otherwise. Lie 1. The illusion of choice. Brand families, same factories. Emily thought she was being clever. She crossed the street between 2 rivals, haggled a manager's special, then walked back with a printout to force a price match. Different logos, different taglines, same reassuring pitch. Premium coils, proprietary foam, lifetime comfort. What she didn't see was the procurement spreadsheet in a shared supplier's inbox. Identical core specs, different quilting pattern, a new fabric name, and a $400 spread. Here's the stakes in plain terms. You think competition is working for you, it's often working on you. Consolidation means the brands on the wall can roll up to the same parent or to a handful of manufacturers buying from the same foam pourers and coil makers. The assortment looks wide because the stories are different. The guts are familiar because the factories are shared. Watch how the portfolio game plays out. The flagship brand gets the halo, heritage, craftsmanship, the pricey top layer. A value sister brand borrows that core, trims an inch from the comfort foam, changes the knit, and lands 2 price tiers down. A third cooling sub-brand adds a thin phase change cover and a splash of blue gel beads. Meanwhile, the retailer's private label copies last year's spec from the flagship and sells it under a house name. 4 choices, 1 playbook, 3 margins. At the corporate level, it's cleaner still. A top manufacturer can design, pour, assemble, ship, and showcase within its own retail chain after a big acquisition. A DTC darling touts independence, then partners with a competitor's stores for floor space while contracting with the same national fabricator for hybrids. A review site ranks them all while collecting affiliate commissions no matter which logo you click. From their perspective, variety is segmentation. From yours, it's fog. Action looks like this behind the scenes. Product teams work in line reviews: good, better, best, ultra. They lock a bill of materials, coil gauge, foam densities, quilting fill, then brief branding to rename the layers: support core, airflow plus, pressure sense. Retail gets territory controls and model numbers that change per store chain to block direct comparisons. The same spec becomes 3 SKUs by swapping a border fabric and an inch of soft foam. Sales associates are coached on feel, differences you can't verify, nudging you toward the price point with the highest spiff. The impact shows up on your receipt and in your spine. Fake choice keeps prices sticky because you're not cross-shopping real alternatives, you're circling within one family. Confusion reduces your negotiating leverage. You end up paying a premium for branding while materials quietly step down. And when you try to return it, the sister brand across town doesn't match your model number, even though the coil map is the same. Micro story: a couple in Phoenix spent 2 Saturdays comparing a medium-firm hybrid at store A and an advanced support hybrid at store B. They preferred the edge on B, the quilt on A. They split the difference on price, bought A, and celebrated saving $300. $2 months later, a tech flipped their mattress and spotted the manufacturer tag. The factory code matched both. The better edge came from a thicker border foam that had 2 under a different cover. Here's the human tell: salespeople often admit what the paperwork hides. "These 2 are cousins," one whispered to me off camera, tapping the seams of 2 beds in different showrooms. "Same mom, different jackets," he shrugged. His commission was higher on the jacket. What nobody tells you at the time is how narrow the supply base is. Foam chemistry, polyurethane with additives, comes from a cluster of pourers. Coil units are sourced from a few big players. Covers and quilting panels are cut by contract sewing houses that service multiple brands. When consolidation kicks into hyper-overdrive, manufacturers acquire retailers, roll up piers, and standardize platforms. The wall stays crowded. The factory gets simpler. So how do you spot it in the wild? Start with labels. Look for the law tag and the made for line. If a store brand and a national brand share the same manufacturer location and similar weights, you're staring at variance. Ask for layer specs: foam densities in pounds per cubic foot, coil gauge, coil count by size. If the associate can't or won't provide them, that's a signal. Note model numbers and ask another store under a different banner to pull up the bill of materials. Watch the names: cooling cloud, air gel copper. They're marketing layers on top of commodity inputs. Then check ownership. A quick search for the brand's parent company often reveals the family tree and the retailer's ties. If the manufacturer also owns the chain you're standing in, expect vertical merchandising that steers you toward house priorities. Cross-shop across different ownership groups, not just different logos. In practice, that means comparing a brand sold in a chain tied to manufacturer X with one sold in an independent or a competitor tied to manufacturer Y. One breath takeaway: stop comparing names, start comparing numbers. Demand densities, coil gauge, and total comfort layer thickness. Scan law tags for manufacturer info and shop across ownership, not just across the street. Lie 2, the perpetual sale, MSRP anchoring games. While Emily was comparing cousin beds, the banners did a different job. They taught her what full price was supposed to feel like. That's the trick. The first number you see becomes the anchor in your head, and everything after is a deal, even if the deal is the only price anyone ever pays. Psychological triggers at play. Anchoring: first price sets your baseline, urgency countdown, scarcity event ends tonight, and FOMO holiday only hype. Here are the stakes. Anchored shoppers overspend by hundreds because they're negotiating against a phantom MSRP. Those red tags build urgency that pushes financing, add-ons, and a thicker cover instead of thicker foam. And in some places, regulators have warned about fake reference pricing, but retailers keep it limited time and rotating to skirt the line. Action looks like this. A flagship hybrid launches with a compare at price of $2,999 and an intro event at $1,799. That $2,999 exists in the copy, not on receipts. The real street price, after coupons, bundles, and the manager's wink, hovers between $1,599 and $1,999 all year. Every holiday gets a new name, New Year's, President's Day, Memorial Day, 4th, Labor Day, Black Friday, friends and family. Inventory reset. The banners change, the price doesn't. Meanwhile, models get micro-renamed LX, LX2, LX to be with the same spec, so a shopper can't Google the history and see the floor. Review the playbook inside the store. You'll get walk to good, better, best. Good is there to make better look smart. Best is there to make better look responsible. The tag on best shows a giant strike-through and a save $1,200. The salesperson points at the strike-through, then at the clock. Sale ends tonight. In the back office, the POS system is set to roll the event forward at midnight to a differently named event. The calendar is a carousel. The urgency is a setting. Online, it's cleaner and quieter. You'll see countdown timers on product pages, pop-ups that say Evan in Boise just purchased, and today-only coupon bars. Price tracking tools tell a different story. That today-only code works 300 days a year. Affiliates get unique coupon URLs so the retailer can attribute the sale, and those codes often match the same net price you'd get from any other link. The real game is attribution, not discounting. Micro story. A 3-day inventory blowout at a strip mall chain ran so long the vinyl letters peeled. A former associate told me the weekly email from headquarters simply refreshed the sale name and extended the end date, year-end closeout in January, tax refund savings in March, summer kickoff in May. The price on their house brand medium hybrid never moved more than $50. Impact, anchoring shifts your baseline and narrows your options. Once $2,999 sits in your head, $1,899 feels like you negotiated well, even if $1,599 was standard. It also sets the tone for add-ons. A $299 protector becomes only 10%. A $200 pillow turns into rounding error. Financing slides in because it's the same as cash. Miss a deadline and retroactive interest detonates months later. There's a legal edge here. Some states require that a reference price was the actual price for a meaningful period before advertising a discount. Retailers respond with rotating model numbers, bundled, compare at prices that include a foundation or adjustable base you might not want, and vague MSRP labels that aren't set by independent bodies. The appearance of savings remains, the evidence gets slippery. Meanwhile, the perpetual sale reaches into review sites. A top 10 list today only links to a coupon that mirrors the manufacturer's own evergreen code. The blogger earns a fee for sending you through a funnel that was pre-priced. The headline screams $400 off. The spreadsheet shows it's baked in. Here's where it gets personal. Emily called 3 stores. Each quoted a different final today number for the same branded model, each with a different promised expiration. In the 4th store, the sales lead offered to call the rep and get authorization for a deeper cut. The call was theater. The authorization was a button he was already allowed to press. How do you break the anchor? First, create your own. Decide your budget ceiling before you see a tag, then evaluate materials against that number. Track prices for a week or 2 with a browser extension or ask the store for last weekend's flyer. If they can honor it now, it wasn't special. When you see an MSRP, ask, when was this model last sold at that price and for how long? Watch the body language. If they pivot to bundled savings, unbundle and compare component by component. Second, strip out the confetti. Ignore the strike-through. Look for the all-in cost with tax, delivery, setup, protector, and base. If financing is in play, calculate total payments and ask whether the promotion is deferred interest or true percent with no retroactivity. If it's deferred interest, set auto-pay to clear the balance a month early. Third, use model-agnostic specs to compare. Write down layer thicknesses and densities, coil gauge, and the return policy's real terms. Then compare another brand's build at the same net price. If a sale mattress with fancy quilting loses to a quieter build with better foam at the same money, the banner was the product. One breath takeaway: refuse the anchor, track real street prices, calculate the all-in cost, verify financing terms, and compare builds, not strike-throughs. Lie 3, mattress store saturation, showroom shell game. While those strike-throughs work on your brain, the corner stores work on your feet. Psychological triggers, choice overload and paralysis, walls of similar models, authority cues via branded fixtures, and social proof via ubiquitous presence. They must be good, they're everywhere. Drive a mile and count them. 2 chains at the light, a third tucked by the dry cleaner, 1 more next to the smoothie place. It looks like healthy competition. It's a funnel. The goal isn't to win you once. It's to make sure wherever you wander, you end up inside the same system. Here are the stakes. Store saturation shapes your choices before you even lie down. When the same owners control the neighborhood, they control the script, what models are shown, which ones are out of stock, which price is the best we can do. You think you canvassed the market. You toured one maze. Action first. Chains map cities into territories. Franchisees or corporate districts set store spacing to catch drive-by shoppers, pick up search traffic, and dominate local maps. A saturated strip makes it hard for independents to rank online or afford rent. Behind the scenes, shared distributors feed multiple banners. The names differ, the truck is the same. Now watch how ownership hides in plain sight. Two rivals across the boulevard can be sister brands owned by the same parent or franchises sourcing from the same manufacturer. Their model numbers won't match. Their sales will end tonight. Their house brands will be exclusive. The exclusivity is the model number, not the build. It's a deliberate block on price discovery. Micro story: a family in Charlotte did the sensible thing. They hit store A, liked a premier plush, took photos. Across the street, store B had a luxe cushion. The salesperson swore it was different. They preferred B's feel but A's price. After a Saturday of back and forth, B called the regional and beat her by $100. A month later, a delivery tag mix-up revealed both beds routed through the same distribution center, stamped with the same assembly plant code. The core layers matched within a quarter-inch. Different borders, different handles, same heart. Here's the showroom choreography. Floors are laid out in good, better, best runs with curated gaps. That missing medium firm under $1,400. It exists in the warehouse, but the floor jumps you from $1,199 to $1,699, so best value sits at $1,699. Sales training leans into feel language, more lumbar, quicker response, while steering away from spec. The mission is to keep you in network for the second and third store, so price becomes theater, not data. Meanwhile, saturation creates a local echo chamber. Associates move between chains. Spiffs align around brands with national co-op budgets. When a big manufacturer buys the biggest retailer, the ecosystem tightens further. Merchandising, promotion, and floor space can all tilt toward house priorities. From your perspective, 10 stores equals choice. From theirs, it's coverage. Impact shows up in your total spend and your odds of finding a true alternative. If every nearby storefront feeds a narrow set of suppliers, your cross-shopping collapses. You're comparing label art and quilt patterns. Price compression disappears because the same owner won't undercut itself beyond a controlled range. And when you try to match online, model number traps block the comparison. Unknown to most shoppers, zip code targeting finishes the loop. Search mattress near me and paid ads from the same ownership block stack the top results. Affiliate review sites steer you to those same links with exclusive codes that aren't exclusive. The last mile of your decision is fenced in digitally before you ever test a bed. Micro story: in Phoenix, two neon-lit stores a block apart kept undercutting each other on a cooling hybrid. A friend of mine walked between them 3 times and shaved off $250. He felt like he'd cracked the system. The credit card line item later listed both purchases under the same merchant services umbrella. The discount came out of 1P and L either way. So how do you shop past the maze? First, map ownership. Ask a salesperson who owns this store. If you get spin, step outside and Google the business name plus parent company. Check the brand's corporate site for where to buy. If the same chain appears everywhere, widen your radius to include independents or big boxes with different sourcing. Second, shop across ownership, not across the street. If store A and B share a parent or distributor, make store C a true outsider, even if it's a longer drive. Bring a spec sheet, not a model name. Ask for coil gauge, coil type, and foam densities. If they can't provide numbers, note it and move on. Third, neutralize floor plan steering. Before you enter, set a budget bracket and a target build. Say, a hybrid with at least 2 inches of 1/8-2, PCF polyfoam or quality latex over tempered coils with edge reinforcement. Then force the floor to meet your spec, not the other way around. If a salesperson says, "We don't have that exact thing," ask for a warehouse pull or skip the sale. One breath takeaway. The corner store carpet is a funnel. Identify ownership. Compare by specs across different owners, and refuse model number traps that turn competition into costume. Lie 4. The NASA myth. Memory foam's magic story. Emily's next stop was the space-age aisle, the cool blue tags, the astronaut silhouette, the promise that the same stuff that cushioned rocket pilots would cradle her shoulder. It sounds heroic. It also papers over what you're actually buying, polyurethane foam with additives to make it slow to rebound and sensitive to heat. Psychological triggers, authority bias, NASA halo, tech glamour effect, and cognitive ease. Simple story replaces spec. Here are the stakes. The NASA story creates a premium halo that inflates price expectations. You pay more because it feels like technology, not commodity. And the trade-offs, heat retention, off-gassing, and variable durability, get softened by the romance of aerospace. Action first. In 1966, engineers at NASA's Ames Research Center worked on slow spring-back foam to improve crash protection in seats. The material, viscoelastic polyurethane, absorbed energy and slowly returned to shape. An engineer, Charles Yost, helped develop and later commercialize versions of it outside NASA. Decades later, European manufacturers refined the formula for bedding, and a Swedish-made version eventually hit US bedrooms as memory foam mattresses. That's the thread. What the tag doesn't say is that modern memory foam is still polyurethane, tweaked with chemicals to raise viscosity and density so it molds under body heat. Here is where the marketing stretches. Space technology suggests unique performance, but in bedding, the physics are basic. Density, measured in pounds per cubic foot, and formulation drive feel and durability. A 4-5 PCF visco foam tends to support longer than a 2-3 PCF cut-rate blend. Many mass-market models bury thinner, lower-density comfort layers under thick, showy covers and give them proprietary names. Zero G Plush, Lunar Cloud, while skipping the actual specs. Meanwhile, the real experience is heat and airflow. Visco foam is an open-cell matrix, but its slow response and close contour reduce air movement around your body. That initial cool some brands sell often comes from a phase change coating on the fabric or a gel-infused top layer. It can feel cooler on contact, then equalize as your body warms the foam and the coating exhausts. Gel, copper, graphite, the words change, the mechanism is similar. Without pathways for air, the bed runs warm for many sleepers. Micro story, a couple tested a space-certified model in a cooled showroom. 10 seconds felt amazing, a chilled knit, a slow handprint, sales applause. Night 2 at home, they woke sweaty at 3 a.m. The cooling they paid for was a thin surface treatment. Underneath sat 2 inches of 3 PCF visco on top of softer polyfoam. The foam hugged, the heat stayed. Off-gassing is the other reality you smell on delivery. Polyurethane foams can emit volatile organic compounds, especially when new. Low VOC certifications exist, but the sticker scope matters. Some certify specific foams, not the whole mattress. Some set emissions thresholds, not zero. A badge can be honest and still leave you with a new foam smell for days. Sensitive sleepers, babies, migraine sufferers, anyone with chemical sensitivity, notice first. Impact, the NASA halo narrows your questions. You stop asking for density numbers and accept brand language. You equate tech with longevity and comfort. Then you're surprised when body impressions show early or when your shoulder sinks too slowly and your spine rotates. Heat nudges you toward cooling upgrades, pads, toppers, powered bases, cost layered on cost. What nobody tells you at the time is how dramatically density changes the story. 2 inches of 5 PCF visco can provide pressure relief that holds up better than 3 inches of 3 PCF flashed with gel. Mixed stacks matter too. A responsive transition layer under visco helps you move. A mushy layer underneath leaves you stuck. The cover's breathability and the core's airflow, like coils with space between rows, matter more for temperature than copper ink in the knit. So how do you shop it smartly? Ask for numbers. What are the densities per layer in PCF? How thick is each layer? Is the cooling from a fabric finish an infusion or real airflow through materials? Press for whether the certification listed covers the entire finished mattress for emissions or just certain components. If they can't answer, that's your answer. Test the heat honestly. Lie on your side for 10 minutes, still and covered, not just a handprint. If you run hot, favor breathable covers, perforated or open-cell foams at credible densities, or hybrids that add coil airflow under the foam. If you want contour without the stuck feel, try latex comfort layers. Still foam, different chemistry, faster response. Micro story, an athlete with shoulder pain was sold a NASA-grade medium that hugged hard. Relief at first, then numbness from slow sink and heat. Swap to a hybrid with 2 inches of higher density visco over tempered coils and a knit without a slick coating. Same contour, better movement, cooler nights. The fix wasn't space, it was spec. One breath takeaway, treat spacing. As a story and by the build, demand layer densities, test for heat after 10 minutes, and prioritize airflow and credible specs over astronaut logo. Lie 5. The certification comfort blanket, meaningless badges. By the time Emily reached the eco aisle, she was tired of stories and ready for something that felt safe. That's when the badges did their job. Psychological triggers, authority lab logos, social proof badge clusters, and risk reduction heuristics that mute deeper questions. A strip of logos stitched into the border, green leaves, a shield, a lab flask, promised clean, tested, independently verified. Her shoulders dropped. This looked like truth. It looked like someone else had done the hard checking. Here are the stakes. Those badges can calm parents buying cribs, renters worried about smells, and anyone sensitive to headaches after a new mattress arrives. But many of the labels on the floor do certify what you think they certify. Some apply to a single foam component, not the whole mattress. Some set emissions limits, not ingredients bans. Some audit factories for paper trails, not performance. The comfort is real. The protection can be narrow. Action first, how the blanket gets woven. Manufacturers collect a portfolio of marks. One tests polyurethane foam for certain emissions thresholds. Another certifies that a textile cover meets organic fiber standards on the cover only. A third checks a factory's management system for tracking inputs, not the toxicity of the finished stack. Marketing then compresses that nuance into a single montage on the foot tag. Certified safe. The floor copy blurs scope. This mattress meets strict standards. Which standards? For what part? Under what test conditions? Silent. Meanwhile, the worst version is performative. A brand slaps a vague eco emblem next to fine print that says cover fabric certified. The foam, adhesives, and fire barrier, major sources of VOCs, aren't covered by that badge. Or a non-toxic claim rides on a test that measures odor complaints, not chemical constituents. A sticker can be technically true and materially misleading in the way a shopper reads it. Micro story: a new parent bought a crib mattress labeled with a bold, leafy seal and peace of mind. The badge applied to the cotton ticking. The core was standard polyurethane with a laminated fire barrier. On delivery day, the nursery had a fresh factory smell for a week. The retailer pointed at the badge. It never claimed whole product emissions. It never said it did. Impact shows up in choices and price. Badges raise perceived value, so brands can charge more while keeping the same core recipe. Shoppers stop asking for materials and start counting logos. And when a smell lingers or a headache hits, warranty and return policies don't cover odors. The promise was comfort by association, not performance by spec. What nobody tells you at the time is that some certifications are strong if you read them right. Whole mattress emissions standards that test the finished product in a chamber give you a clearer signal on indoor air quality than a foam-only mark. Organic textile standards on the cover are valuable for fiber provenance, but they don't say anything about the foam beneath. A latex badge might verify natural latex content, but if there's also polyfoam in the comfort stack, that foam sits outside the scope. Labels have borders. You need to know where they end. Here is how the sales floor props it up. Associates are trained to say, "We're certified," and gesture at the montage. When you ask, "Which parts of this mattress does that cover?" they pivot to testimonials or doctor-recommended sheets. The assumption is you won't press. The trick is not adversarial, it's ambient. Everyone wants the badge to mean safe, so the conversation stops there. Meanwhile, DTC plays a parallel game online. Landing pages stack icons above the fold, then bury the scope in expandable footnotes. Review sites copy-paste the icon wall and add "great for allergies." Affiliates get higher conversion when the badge cluster sits near the Add to Cart button, so the ecosystem reinforces the shorthand. More logos, more trust. So how do you reclaim the meaning? Ask 3 questions out loud with a pen ready. 1. Is this a whole mattress certification or component specific? 2. Does it cover emissions from the finished product or just the inputs? 3. What's excluded? Adhesives, fire barriers, foams, bases. If the associate doesn't know, ask them to call the brand rep and email you the scope sheets. If they hedge, treat the badge as decoration. Next, verify by function, not vibe. If indoor air is your concern, look for whole product emissions testing and ask about ventilation recommendations on delivery. If material origin matters, organic cotton, natural latex, confirm the specific layers carrying those claims and the percentage of content, not just the presence of a fiber. If non-toxic is the promise, demand the test protocol and limits used to make that statement. No harmful chemicals means nothing without a list. Micro-story, Emily circled back, armed with a list. At one chain, the Eco, star on a hybrid, boiled down to recycled polyester in the cover. At an independent shop, a quieter model came with full emissions data on the finished bed and disclosed foam densities and adhesive types. It lacked the badge collage. It also stopped smelling by day 2. One breath takeaway. Badges aren't blankets. Confirm scope, demand whole product emissions data when air quality matters, and buy materials by disclosed specs, not logo clustered. Lie 6, the direct-to-consumer, fairy tale middlemen in disguise. Emily thought she'd finally escaped the maze. No showrooms, no neon banners, just a clean site, a friendly quiz, and no middlemen. Psychological triggers, social proof, influencer unboxings, authority expert listicles, and FOMO via exclusive code countdowns. The promise was simple: cut out the store, pocket the savings, sleep better. But the first thing the site asked for wasn't her firmness, it was her email. The middlemen weren't gone. They moved into her inbox, and every link she clicked. Here are the stakes. When the channel shifts online, costs don't vanish, they change jerseys. The rent you would have paid in a strip mall becomes CAC, customer acquisition cost, poured into ads, affiliates, influencers, and review guides. The bill moves from landlord to marketing dashboard, and you still pay it. Materials get squeezed so the spreadsheet can fund the funnel. Action first, follow the money. That top 10 mattresses list you Googled pays rent by sending you to exclusive coupon links. Each click carries an ID. If you buy, the publisher earns a bounty, sometimes a fixed fee, sometimes a % of your cart. The mattress brand calls it performance marketing. The effect is quiet. Your independent recommendation is tied to the site's commission. If 2 beds are similar, the one paying more often ranks higher. Nobody says it out loud. You feel it in the uniform praise and the identical pros and cons. Then come the affiliates you don't see. Comparison engines, newsletter placements, cashback apps, even browser extension coupons all take a cut. Layer on paid search, bidding on the brand's own name to keep competitors from poaching, and social ads to chase you across the web. By the time you check out, the brand might attribute your order to 3 partners fighting over credit. The price didn't drop because the truck skipped a store. It plateaued because 5 parties dipped their ladles into the same sale. Micro story, a friend ran a quick experiment. He clicked a review site's best memory foam link, then a YouTube influencer's my honest review, then a cashback app. When he finally bought, 3 thank you pages thanked him. The company later admitted 2 commissions triggered. The bed's build had quietly slimmed since launch, 1 less inch of comfort foam to hold margin while marketing spend crept up. Meanwhile, factory direct gets fuzzy. Many DTC brands outsource to contract manufacturers that also build for competitors. The website says our facility. The law tag says made for at a third-party plant that stamps different logos on the same assembly line. That isn't inherently bad. It's just not the romance promised by we cut out the middleman. The middleman changed titles: manufacturer, 3PL, agency, affiliate. Influencers complete the halo. A creator unboxes, slices the plastic, and flops onto a perfectly fluffed mattress that had 72 hours to off-gas before filming. They share a special code and my link below. If you look in the description, a disclosure says the channel earns a commission. That's fine when it's clear. It's murky when the review reads like a brochure and skips densities, coil gauges, or warranty fine print. Entertainment replaces due diligence. Impact shows up in product decisions. When every incremental dollar needs to acquire a new customer, the temptation is to invest in the box, the cover, the photography, anything that converts before upgrading foam density or coil quality. Returns become a line item, not a heartbreak. Offer 365 nights risk-free, then design a process that adds friction, donation letters, narrow pickup windows, so fewer people follow through. The promise is pristine. The path is crowded. What nobody tells you at the time is that some DTCs do publish specs, disclose partners, and keep marketing in check. Others ride venture money, buy share with discounts, and hope you won't notice when V2 trims materials. The story "No Middlemen" collapses into fewer visible ones, while invisible ones multiply. So how do you buy without funding the hidden parade? Start with disclosures. On any best mattress, article, or video, find the affiliate statement. If it's vague, we may earn a small commission. Assume rankings are pay influenced. Prefer sources that publish testing protocols and accept no or flat fee sponsorships. Next, click past the story to the spec. Demand layer densities, thicknesses, coil type, and edge design. Email support and ask who makes your mattresses and where. If they say we partner with leading manufacturers, ask for names. If they won't share, treat Factory Direct as marketing. Then track the price. Use a price history tool for a month. If the today only coupon never dies, it's the price. Compare your cart total, including delivery, setup, base, and protector, against an in-store build with better materials. If DTC is truly cheaper, it'll show up in the stack, not the slogan. Watch the return path. Before buying, ask how returns work in your zip code, who picks up, whether you need a donation receipt, and how refunds are timed. Screenshot the chat. If the answers wobble, that risk-free is risk-tilted. Micro story, Emily retraced her steps. She found a quieter brand that listed densities, named its manufacturer, and offered a straight refund with scheduled pickup in her area. No quiz confetti, no as seen on TV. The mattress wasn't the cheapest, just honestly built. She clicked buy from the brand site, not a listing. The confirmation page had no fireworks. Her back cared more about foam than funnel. One breath takeaway, no middlemen is a mirror trick. Follow the money through links and codes, demand full specs and maker names, verify returns in writing, and buy the build, not the story. Lie 7. The 10-25-year warranty Mirage, durability versus fine print. The gold foil 25-year limited warranty on Emily's receipt felt like armor. Psychological triggers, loss aversion you pay to avoid risk, optimism bias long years feel like certainty, and ambiguity effect fine print unread so benefits seem larger. The salesman even tapped it with his pen, we stand behind this. 6 months later, her lower back said otherwise. A shallow trough had formed where she slept. Not dramatic, just enough to torque her hips. She called. The voice on the line sounded sympathetic, then asked about stains, her bed frame, and whether the mattress had been rotated every 30 days as recommended. The armor started to look like lace. Here are the stakes. Long warranties sell peace of mind, but the coverage often excludes the very failures you'll feel first. A bed can lose resilience long before it qualifies as defective. Most warranties don't promise comfort. They promise freedom from a specific defect measured a very specific way. Action, how it works behind the curtain. The inspector doesn't assess your pain, they quantify indentation. They stretch a string or place a rigid bar across the surface and measure the gap to the lowest point. If that gap is less than the brand's threshold, often 1.25 inches on foam, sometimes 1.5 inches, the claim dies on the spot. Many sleepers feel misalignment and pressure changes around 3/4 of an inch, especially if they're lighter or side sleepers. That gap between discomfort and defect is where the warranty saves the company money. Then come the conditions. A single coffee splash, stain equals void. Why? Manufacturers argue that fluids can degrade foams or harbor contaminants, so any stain suggests misuse. Next, the foundation. Many policies require a center support rail on queen and king frames and slat spacing no more than 2 to 3 inches. Adjustable bases must be compatible. If your setup doesn't match the manual or you can't prove it, void. Rotate schedule. If fine print says regular rotation and the inspection photo shows a body impression, they may blame you for uneven wear. Shipping and service are their own maze. You might pay an inspection fee. If approved, you might pay pickup and redelivery. If the model is discontinued, you get a prorated credit toward current pricing, which can leave you spending more to get back to where you started. Some brands exclude normal softening of foam. Translation: the slow loss of support you actually notice is normal. Micro story: a teacher with mid-back pain measured a 0.8-inch dip she could feel every morning. The policy threshold was 1.25 inches. The inspector's string read 1 inch, denied. She added a mattress pad to guard against stains and waited. Months later, it finally hit 1.25 inches, but a faint T-blotch near the footboard showed up in photos. Void. Impact: you delay action, thinking the warranty will rescue you, while your body adapts in bad ways. Extra pillows, odd sleep positions, pain that bleeds into your day. You also end up babying a product you bought to relax on, worrying about frames, slats, and coasters under glasses, because any misstep becomes a lever to deny covering. What nobody tells you at the time is that durability lives in specs, not years on paper. Foam density is a predictor. For memory foam, 4-5 PCF tends to hold up better than 2-3 PCF. For polyurethane support foam, 1-8-2 PCF is safer than 1.5 PCF in heavier use. Coil units with tempered steel and meaningful gauge hold alignment longer than decorative microcoils without structure. Quilting that looks plush can hide thin comfort layers that compress fast. Sales floor choreography props up the Mirage. The pitch ties 25 years to premium, then glides past the indentation clause, the stain void, the base requirements, and the prorate schedule. Online, badges shout forever warranty, while the PDF reveals exclusions broad enough to land a plane. So how do you flip the script? Before you buy, read the warranty PDF, not the trifold on your phone in the store. Find the indentation threshold, stain clause, required foundation specs, rotation requirements, and whether coverage is full or prorated. Ask, if this model is discontinued, what happens? Make the associate answer on record. Email yourself a summary or photograph the key lines. Protect and document. Use a waterproof, breathable protector from day one. Photograph your frame and center support before delivery. Keep the delivery receipt and the law tag. Set a reminder to rotate per the manual. If you feel early softening, document with dated photos and a ruler or string. Report issues early and keep every email. Most importantly, buy for durability first, warranty second. Prioritize disclosed densities, tempered coil units, and honest layer thickness over a big year number. If a brand hides specs but touts decades of coverage, treat that as a red flag. Micro story: Emily's second try came with modest claims, 10-year non-prorated, whole mattress emissions tested, full specs listed. The sales pitch took 5 minutes. The walkthrough of foundation requirements took 10. The foam was denser, the edge held. The only gold foil was on the zipper pull, not the warranty card. One breath takeaway: a long warranty isn't a safety net. Check indentation thresholds, stain and base clauses, and prorate terms. Then buy durable specs and protect, document, and rotate from day one. Lie 8. Firmness labels are vibes, not standards. Emily thought she'd learned her lesson. Specs over slogans, numbers over names. Psychological triggers, label effect, names override nuance. Cognitive overload, too many feels, not enough specs. And representativeness, assuming medium matches your body. Then she met the label that pretends to be a number. Soft, medium, medium firm, firm. 4 words that feel objective until you learn their house dialects with no translator. Medium in one showroom is medium firm across town. Both can change after 3 months of sleep. Here are the stakes. You buy the word that fits your identity. I'm a side sleeper, I'm medium, and end up with a bed that drifts softer, rotates your spine, or pushes your shoulder. Without a standard scale, brands set feel in-house and rename it for marketing. Returns rise, so do upsells. Your back pays tuition for their vocabulary lesson. Action starts under the cover. Firmness is a product of 3 levers: materials, thickness, and geometry. Foam firmness gets measured at the layer level by ILD or IFD, how many pounds of force compress a foam by 25%. But stores rarely share these numbers, and even if they did, ILD is just one part of feel. Density affects durability and support. Thickness affects how much you travel before you hit resistance. Quilting and covers blur your first impression. Now add fatigue. Poly and memory foams naturally soften in the first weeks. That cozy medium can slide toward plush, especially when comfort layers are thin or low density. Your first 10 minutes in a store are the firmest the bed will ever be. Sales training leans into that. It'll break in a bit, without quantifying how far it moves or for whom. A 220-pound back sleeper and a 120-pound side sleeper won't experience the same arc. Micro story: Emily lay on 3 mediums in 40 minutes. At Store A, medium meant 2 inches of visco over a soft transition foam, huggy slow. Store B's medium was latex over coils, springy fast. Store C had a thick quilt that felt firm on top, then collapsed hard beneath. All mediums, 3 different spines. Meanwhile, model number games return. Retailers tweak quilting, swap a half-inch of foam, or change fabric tension, then rename the feel. Medium becomes luxury firm, then support medium. Online, the quiz nudges you there because most buyers cluster in the middle. Conversions are highest when you promise Goldilocks. Impact, you chase words and burn time. Returns chew weekends. Shipping and pickup windows turn your bedroom into a loading dock. The mattress you keep may be the one that annoyed you the least, not the one that aligns you best. And when pain shows up, you're told to add a topper. layering cost over confusion. What nobody tells you at the time is how to translate feel into testable checkpoints. Alignment first. When you're on your side, does your nose, sternum, and navel line up straight? If your waist collapses or your shoulder jams, the comfort layer isn't thick or supportive enough for your frame. Pressure next. After 10 minutes still, do you feel hot spots, shoulder, hip, sacrum, or numbness? That's either too firm up top or too slow a foam without a responsive transition. Movement, roll to your back and side. If you fight valleys, you're sinking too deep or getting stuck in visco without bounce beneath. Get the numbers that matter. Ask for comfort layer thickness in inches and foam densities in pounds per cubic foot for each layer, not just overall feel. For hybrids, ask coil gauge and whether coils are tempered, plus any real zoning, not just a printed pattern. If a brand won't disclose, assume the word medium is doing more work than the materials. There's a smarter way to use ILD/IFD. Treat it as a clue, not a verdict. A medium latex in the high teens, low 20s ILD feels different than a medium visco at low ILD but high density. Pair ILD with thickness. 2 inches of soft over firm behaves differently than 3 inches of medium over medium. Your body reads the stack, not the label. Micro story. A side-sleeping nurse with hip pain kept buying medium and waking sore. A fitter shop built to spec, 3 inches of higher density visco for pressure relief over a firmer transition and tempered coils. The tag said nothing about medium. Her spine said yes on night 1 and again after week 3 when initial softening settled. One breath takeaway. Ignore the word, test the stack. Demand layer thicknesses and densities. Check alignment and pressure after 10 minutes and choose materials that fit your body, not a label. Lie 9. Cooling claims that run hot. Emily didn't shop for a mattress. She shopped for a cold front. Psychological triggers. Vividness effect, icy knit demo, immediacy bias, first touch cool over all night heat, and availability bias, blue gel visuals beat airflow math. Blue swirls, Arctic names, copper threads, each one promised temperature regulation like her bedroom had a thermostat in the quilt. 10 seconds on the floor felt crisp. 4 hours later at home, heat pooled at her shoulder and stayed. The label said cooling. The night said insulation. Here are the stakes. Hot sleep wrecks deep sleep. When brands sell cooling with buzzwords instead of airflow, you pay for surface tricks that fade while the core traps heat. The fix is structural. Breathability through the stack, not sparkle on top. Action, how the cool gets made. Start with phase change materials, those slick coatings that feel cold to the touch. They work by absorbing heat as they change state, then dumping it once saturated. That's why the first minute can feel icy and the 10th minute feels normal. Next, gels, graphite, or copper infusions in foam. The particles can move heat within the foam slightly better than plain visco, but your body's still nestled in a slow response material with limited airflow. Add thick quilting foam and a tight knit, and you've wrapped a sweater around a heat battery. Open cell and perforated foams help a bit, but foam is still foam. Real airflow comes from space for air to move and a path for it to leave. That usually means a breathable cover, minimal glue layers, vertical channels, and for many sleepers, a coil core with room between rows so heat can rise and escape. Marketing prefers gel beads because they're photogenic. Air doesn't photograph well. Micro story, a marathoner bought a triple cool gel copper graphite memory foam. In the showroom, the knit was cool and the handprint slow. At home, by 2 a.m., he felt stuck and warm. He swapped for a hybrid with 2 inches of higher density visco over tempered coils and a simple, breathable knit. Same bedroom, same thermostat, 10 minutes cooler into the night. The difference wasn't minerals, it was air. What nobody tells you at the time is how covers cheat the test. Many cooling knits use phase change finishes that ace the first touch demo. Reps invite you to press your palm, wait 5 seconds and sigh, but that coating's capacity is small. After a few minutes, you're back to the foam's reality. If the cover's backed with polyurethane film or thick poly quilting, you've added a windbreaker to a sauna. Then there's copper. It's antimicrobial in some contexts and a decent conductor inside a metal sink, not necessarily inside a slab of visco. The phrase copper infused sells clean, high-tech cool. The foam's feel and structure still dominate. You can't sprinkle your way out of physics. Impact hits your wallet and your sleep. You chase the promise through upgraded cooling, bundles, pillows, protectors, toppers. Stack enough layers and you've built a heat sandwich. You also miss better fitting builds because you're seduced by names. Nights run warm, mornings feel heavy. So how do you shop cool without getting burned? Test like a sleeper, not a hand model. Lie on your typical side or back for 10 full minutes with a cover over you. If the store's cold, ask to keep your jacket on and note your core, not your palm. Pay attention to movement. If you feel stuck, you'll trap more heat. Prefer breathable covers without heavy foam quilting and skip plasticky protectors. Use waterproof yet breathable ones. Ask for the airflow story. How thick are the comfort layers? What are the densities? Is there a responsive transition to prevent deep sink? For hybrids, what coil gauge and how open is the unit? Any edge reinforcement that also blocks air? Fewer glued layers mean more micropaths for heat to escape. Micro story, Emily compared two cooling mediums. One had a glossy, chilled cover over 3 inches of low-density gel foam and a dense poly core. The other had a matte knit, 2 inches of higher density visco, a firmer transition and coils. 10 minutes in, the glossy one felt warm and sluggish. The matte one let heat bleed off her lower back. The sales tag on the first had 5 snowflakes. The second had none. Her body voted quietly. One breath takeaway. Buy airflow, not adjectives. Choose breathable covers, thinner glue lines, credible foam densities, and coil cores for convective escape, and test for 10 minutes under a cover before you believe cooling. Lie 10% financing with a trap door. Emily thought she'd beaten the banners and the badges. Then the tablet slid across the counter. Percent APR, same as cash. Psychological triggers. Present bias, payments feel small now. Urgency, approved now, and framing percent signs overshadow retroactive interest. It looked clean, split the cost over 12 months, keep cash in the bank. The fine print was gray and small. The trap wasn't the rate, it was the clock tied to it. Here are the stakes. Deferred interest deals turn one missed beat into a penalty that backdates months of interest at sky-high rates, 24%, sometimes more. Store cards bundle promos with fees, late charges, and minimum payments that don't clear the promo balance in time. The pitch is free. The bill is a timer. Action, what actually happens. Most percent offers in mattress stores are deferred interest promotions through a private label card. If you pay the entire promotional balance by the deadline, 6, 12, 24 months, you owe no interest. Miss the payoff by a day or carry even $1, and the lender retroactively applies interest to the average daily balance from the purchase date. If your payments followed the minimums, you often still owe a chunk on month 12. The minimum is designed to keep you short. Then come the add-ons. The sales flow nudges you to bundle a protector, pillows, maybe an adjustable base. Those get added to the same promo or quietly to a revolving balance at the card's standard APR. Returns complicate it further. If you exchange the mattress, the promo clock may restart on the new item while interest keeps accruing on the leftover balance. If you return part of a bundle, credits often apply last, leaving financed accessories generating interest. Micro story, a couple financed $1,999 at percent for 12 months. They made every minimum payment. Month 12, the remaining balance was $382. They paid it 3 days late. Their next statement added $298 in interest backdated to day 1. The rep said, "It's in the terms." It was on page 3 under deferred interest in 8-point font. Store cards add frictions you don't expect. Promotional billing cycles can end mid-month. Autopay defaults to minimums, not payoff amounts. If you schedule a payoff online the day it's due, the bank may process it the next business day. Also, many promos require equal monthly payments calculated at purchase. If you add a pillow later, it rides a different clock, and your scheduled payments don't clear both clocks in time. Impact shows up long after the mattress smell fades. A finance plan morphs into a 25% APR debt you didn't plan for. Your deal price gets erased by interest. Worse, late charges and penalty APRs can land if a payment posts after cutoff or if your bank kicks back an ACH. The mattress didn't get cheaper, its carrying cost got hidden. What nobody tells you at the time is that true percent APR exists, usually as equal pay installment loans with no deferred interest clause. Pay on schedule and you're done. But many in-store offers use deferred interest because it converts better and costs the retailer less in co-op financing fees. Sales training glosses the difference. Same as cash. Here, how to shop with eyes open. Before you touch the pen, ask, is this deferred interest or true percent APR with no retroactive interest? Get the answer in writing or a screenshot. If it's deferred, set autopay to a fixed amount that clears the promo balance at least 30 days early. Verify the statements, promo balance field, and track it monthly. Don't trust the minimum. If there are multiple promos, call and allocate payments to the soonest expiring one. Calculate the all-in cost before financing. Add tax, delivery, setup, base, protector, and any fees. Decide whether you could pay cash at that number. If financing helps cash flow, great, but only on terms you control. If the store pushes a private label card, ask if they'll match the price for paying by debit or credit you already carry. Sometimes the instant savings equals the value of avoiding a trap. Micro story? Emily asked the rep to print the financing terms. He pointed at percent APR on the flyer. She asked for the clause about retroactive interest. He squinted, then called a manager. They offered a straight 12-month equal pay plan through a different processor. No deferred interest, no backdating. The monthly payment was clear. She set auto pay above the required amount, scheduled payoff 2 months early, and asked for an email confirming both. The bed didn't get cheaper. It got honest. One breath takeaway. Percent is only free if the math is straight. Avoid deferred interest. Set auto pay to kill the promo early, track the promo balance, and calculate total cost before you sign. Lie 11. Luxury cover, budget core. Emily's salesperson slid a hand across a quilted Eurotop like it was a luxury car hood. Psychological triggers. Halo effect, luxury cover equals quality, tactile bias, hand test beats layer map, and aesthetic usability effect. Heavy knit, ornate stitching, a sash of faux silk piping, the kind of cover that makes you forget gravity. He talked about hand-tufted indulgence and hotel feel. He didn't talk about what was under the hood. Thin comfort layers and low-density foam doing the heavy lifting while the jacket did the selling. Here are the stakes. You're paying for weight in the wrong place. A luxury cover can hide a budget core, an inch or two of soft foam that compresses fast, so the bed looks and feels rich for 5 minutes, then breaks in quickly. Your body impressions arrive early, and your dollars went into fabric and fill, not materials that keep your spine aligned. Action: how the trick gets built. Product teams know the floor test is the conversion moment, so they pump the quilt. Thick poly fiber, convoluted foam, and showy embroidery that creates a pillowy first touch. Under that, they'll stack a thin slab of low to mid-density comfort foam, sometimes 3 PCF visco, sometimes 1, 5, 1, 8 PCF poly over a basic transition layer and a core. For hybrids, the coil unit might be fine, but the upper inches, the ones that determine pressure relief, are where costs get shaved. Then comes the naming. Cashmere blend, Tencel Luxe. Euro pillow, all true for the cover, none guaranteeing substance beneath. Micro story? A couple fell for a chateau plush with a quilt so heavy it felt anchored. Night 1 was pillowy, night 30 hips drifted. When a tech opened the zipper for a squeak check, he revealed the comfort stack. 1 inches of poly quilting foam, 1 inch of 3 PCF memory foam, then a soft transition. The chateau was a coat. Meanwhile, weight becomes theater. Sales reps tap the border and say, feel the quality. Heft can be real, dense foams are heavier, but quilting weight and border reinforcement add pounds without adding support. A 110-pound queen with thick knit and fiber can hide a 2-inch comfort stack. A 95-pound queen with a simple knit and 3 inches of higher density foam can outperform it for years. Weight without a layer map is a magician's coin. What nobody tells you at the time is how much comfort layer thickness matters. Pressure relief and durability live in those top 2 to 3 inches. Skimp there and you bottom out into mushy transitions. Oversoften there and you bathe in a pillow that collapses. Covers can also work against you. Excessive quilting foam compresses fast, creating waves and false firmness on day 1 that disappears by week 3. Watch how the showroom reinforces it. They'll give you a side-by-side, a simple knit model that looks plain and a quilted luxury twin that looks regal. Your hand votes for regal. Your spine would vote for the simple knit if it knew the stack. Associates often don't have specs handy, they have names. Cloud Soft, Opulence Layer, Silk Touch. Those are branding wrappers around commodity foam. Impact, you get the look and the wrong lifespan. The bed feels great short-term, then sags in the comfort zone while the core is still fine. Warranties exclude normal softening, and indentation thresholds don't count quilt flattening. You chase fixes, toppers, rotations, new bases, none of which add density to a thin stack. So how do you flip the cover? Ask for the map. How many inches per layer of actual foam above the core or coils? What are the densities in pounds per cubic foot for each? If it's memory foam, 4-5 PCF is a sturdier bet than 3 PCF for most adults. If it's poly, 1-8-2. PCF beats 1.5 PCF for longevity. If it's latex, confirm type and ILD alongside thickness. For hybrids, ask about the transition layer. It stops you from dumping into coils. and whether the edge reinforcement steals useful surface or supports it. Then check cover function. Breathable knit, light quilting, minimal glue lines, those are allies. Cashmere blends and thick fiber packs are luxuries that can smother airflow and mask thin comfort stacks. If the pitch leans on fabric names more than foam numbers, assume the money S in the jacket. Micro story, Emily laid on 2 queens at the same price. One, ornate Eurotop, silk blend tag, soft instant sigh. The other, plain knit, 2 inches of 4. PCF Visco, a firmer transition, tempered coils with edge support. 10 minutes in, the ornate bed felt warm and showed a shoulder crater. The plain one kept her aligned and cooler. She asked for the layer sheets. The ornate stack had 1.5 inches total above the transition. The plain had 3. Her decision got easier. One breath takeaway. Ignore the jacket, buy the engine, demand comfort layer thickness and densities. Choose breathable covers over heavy quilts and put your money into the top 3 inches, not the piping. Lie 12. Hassle-free returns that hassle you. Emily hit buy because the page promised risk-free, no questions asked. Psychological triggers, sunk cost fallacy, keep a bad fit to avoid hassle, friction costs nudging compliance, and ambiguity keeping you from acting in time. The box arrived, the first week felt wrong, and suddenly no questions turned into a quiz. The countdown started, 90 nights minimum before they'd accept a return, but also 100 nights total to decide. She was told to give it time, then told she was almost out of time. Here are the stakes. Returns are the guardrail that should let you choose confidently. But the process often adds friction, donation letters you have to obtain yourself, pickup windows only on weekdays, and restocking or pickup fees hiding in terms. The hassle nudges you to keep a bad fit. That means more pain, more toppers, and another mattress purchase you didn't plan. Action, how the promise turns into hoops. Many brands require a minimum trial before allowing returns, 30, 60, sometimes 90 nights framed as let your body adjust. For some sleepers, that's fair. For others, it's just a way to push you past the return impulse and into tolerance. When you finally call, you're routed to a returns team trained to troubleshoot, suggest a topper, or offer a partial refund to keep the bed. If you insist, you hit logistics. In dense cities, third-party partners pick up quickly. In rural areas, you'll be asked to secure a donation and provide a receipt. If your town's charities don't accept mattresses, you'll wait for a paid recycler or a special route that's always 2 weeks out. Micro story, a rural buyer tried to return a medium that slept hot. The brand's free return policy required a donation. The nearest charity that accepted mattresses was 70 miles away and only took drop-offs on Tuesdays. He worked Tuesdays. The brand suggested hiring a junk hauler for $120 and promised to reimburse up to $50. He kept the mattress and bought a cooler topper. The return was free. The fix was. Meanwhile, brick-and-mortar wraps returns and exchanges. Comfort guarantee often means one exchange within a window, not a refund. You'll pay a redelivery fee plus a difference if the new model costs more. If you go down in price, stores may issue credit, not cash. Protectors and pillows are often final sale, so those ride with you to the next bed whether they suit you or not. And if there's a stain, sweat ring, pet paw, pen mark, you're out. Returns and warranties both die on stains. What nobody tells you at the time is that return policies aren't one-size-fits-all by zip code. The same brand can be a breeze in Lowe's Angels and a slog in rural Maine. Some DTCs publish a coverage map, many don't. The partner list shifts too. Charities fill up, recyclers change schedules, and pickup windows compress around holidays. If your deadline overlaps those changes, you learn what subject to availability means. Then there's timing. Refunds typically process after pickup or after you submit a donation receipt. If the pickup gets pushed just past your billing cycle, you could carry the full amount another month. Finance plans complicate it more. Third-party lenders may credit late, interest may accrue on accessories you kept, and promos can unwind in weird ways so you owe on items you return. Impact, you stop trusting trial promises. You sleep on the wrong mattress longer. Some people settle into back pain because the path out is harder than the path through. And the industry's return rates look better than they would if every return were truly hassle-free. So how do you keep the promise honest? Confirm the return mechanics before you buy. Ask in writing, what's the minimum trial? Is the outcome a refund or only an exchange? Are there pickup or restocking fees in my zip code? If a donation receipt is required, which partners serve my town and who schedules it? What dates are available this month? Screenshot the chat or email and save it with your order. Protect the clock. Put the last eligible return day on your calendar and set reminders 2 weeks and 1 week ahead. Test intentionally in week 1 and again in week 3, covered and still for 10 minutes. If heat, pain, or motion issues persist, start the conversation early so you have buffer. If they suggest a topper, ask whether that resets or shortens your trial and get the answer in writing. Document condition. Use a waterproof, breathable protector from night 1. Photograph the mattress top and law tag at delivery and again before any return inspection. Keep the plastic bag or ask the store for one. Some carriers require bagged pickups. Micro story. Emily asked the independent shop about returns. They said, "1 exchange, no fees, we pick up Saturdays, we don't do donations, and yes, rural addresses get serviced every other week." They wrote it on her receipt. She didn't need it, but knowing the lane markers changed how she slept the first month. The trial felt like a real trial, not a trap. One breath takeaway. Treat returns like a contract. Confirm trial length, pickup method, fees, and refund timing in writing. Protect the mattress, start early if it's wrong, and keep every receipt. Lie 13. Hybrid hype without support. Emily was told hybrids were the best of both worlds. Foam comfort up top, coil support beneath. Psychological triggers, compromise effect, hybrid as safe middle, and attribute substitution bounce mistaken for support. The floor made it sound like a peace treaty, contour without the stuck, cool without the chop. Then the edges collapsed when she sat to tie her shoes and the center bowed on night 3. Hybrid was a word, support is a build. Here are the stakes. Hybrids promise alignment plus airflow, so you pay a premium expecting durability and edge-to-edge usable space. But many hybrids hide thin comfort layers over light-gauge coils with cosmetic zoning. The result is roll-off at the edge, hammocking in the middle, and a bed that feels great in a 10-minute demo and vague by week 2. Action: what's actually inside. Start with coils. Real support comes from tempered steel, appropriate gauge, and a unit designed for load, not brochure math. Coil count gets gamed. Manufacturers stack short microcoils in the quilt or add a thin layer of tiny springs to bump the number. Those microcoils compress easily and add marketing sizzle, not foundational support. Meanwhile, the main coil unit may use thinner wire, 15 or 16 gauge across the surface, so it feels plush in the showroom but bows under hips for heavier or taller sleepers. Zoning is the next trick. Tags show a diagram firmer at the lumbar, softer at the shoulders. Sometimes it's real, thicker wire or narrower turns in the center third. Often it's cosmetic, a different color fabric or a slight change in foam above the coils that doesn't stop spinal sag. Edge support. Many hybrids substitute a ring of cheap, soft foam instead of firmer edge coils. It looks clean when cut open. It compresses fast when you sit. Micro story. A 240-pound side sleeper bought an edge-to-edge hybrid. Perimeter felt sturdy in the store where reps encouraged sitting near the tag. At home, the border softened in a week and he felt tilt when rolling back to center. The spec sheet, pulled later, revealed a foam encasement, not reinforced edge coils, and a 15-gauge field unit under 2 inches of soft foam. Comfort layers decide whether you ride or sink. Many hybrids use 2 inches or less above the coils. Some mix a thin visco top with a soft poly transition. That's barely enough cushion for broader shoulders or wider hips. You'll punch through to the springs and then sway. If the transition foam is too soft, you swim. If it's missing, you bottom out. Both feel like support issues, and both get sold as you need the luxury model. What nobody tells you at the time is that hybrids can be excellent when built for load. A tempered coil unit in the 13-14, 5-gauge range, firmer wire in the center for heavier sleepers. True zoning by wire spec and reinforced edge coils, sometimes a narrower diameter perimeter or thicker gauge, create a platform that holds alignment. Above that, at least 2 inches of credible comfort foam, 4-5 PCF visco or quality latex. Over a responsive transition keeps pressure off shoulders and prevents the stuck feel. Showroom choreography props the hype. Associates steer you from all foam by saying hot and sag, then present a featherweight hybrid that springs in the hand. The bounce feels like support. It is if the coil is thin and the comfort stack is shallow. They'll tap the coil count and zoned, graphic and skip wire gauge, tempering, or edge design. The demo doesn't include sitting to lace your shoes or sharing the edge with a partner at 2 a.m. Impact shows up in sleep and space. Weak edges shrink your usable width. 2 people end up fighting for the middle and the middle hammocks. Heavier bodies wake with low back ache from hips drifting. Light sleepers feel micro-movements amplified by a springy, lightly damped unit. Returns follow, framed as wrong feel, and you get upsold to thicker foam over the same core. So how do you buy hybrid smart? Ask for coil gauge, tempering, and the edge story. Edge-to-edge isn't a spec, press, foam encasement, or reinforced edge coils. How many turns and is their center zoning by gauge? Then get the foam map, thickness and density of each layer above the springs plus the transition. If the comfort stack is under 2 inches total or the visco is 3 PCF, expect faster wear and pressure complaints. Test like you live. Sit on the edge for 30 seconds, then stand. Does the border spring back or leave a dent? Lie on your side and slide toward the edge. Do you feel the roll? Stay 10 minutes covered. Note shoulder pressure and whether your hips tip. Partners, have the heavier sleeper roll while the other dozes. Does bounce travel? Micro story, Emily lined up 2 hybrids. Model A bragged 2,000 coils, counting a microcoil pad and used foam rails. Model B listed tempered 14.5 gauge pocketed coils, firmer 13.75 gauge in the center third, and reinforced edge coils with 2 inches of higher density visco over responsive transition. A felt lively for 3 minutes, flimsy at the border, hot by minute 10. B felt quieter, stable across the surface, and cooler. The choice was math, not marketing. One breath takeaway. Hybrids work when the coil unit carries load and the comfort stack is honest. Demand tempered coils with real zoning, reinforced edges, and at least 2 inches of credible foam above a responsive transition. Lie 14. Orthopedic and doctor-recommended labels. Emily's pain day sent her straight to the white coats. Psychological triggers, authority bias, white coat effect, scarcity urgency, limited medical edition promos, and confirmation bias. Firm equals healthy. A floor tag read orthopedic support. A placard showed a silhouette spine in perfect alignment, and a framed headshot with doctor recommended sat by the pillows. It felt clinical, like the store had turned into a clinic. It was. It was marketing in a lab coat. Here are the stakes. When you're herding, a medical halo shortcuts skepticism. Orthopedic sounds standardized, but in mattresses it isn't a regulated term. Doctor recommended often means a paid endorsement, not a peer-reviewed outcome. People with real back and hip pain get steered by the costume instead of the construction, and they pay more for the privilege. Action, how the halo gets built. Brands license orthopedic the way they license luxury as a descriptor, not a certification. A line might add a firmer core, extra lumbar foam, or a printed lumbar graphic and claim spinal alignment. Some retailers sponsor local clinicians for quotes. I recommend firm support, then apply the quote broadly across a category. Others work through associations. Trusted by chiropractors, based on a discount program. None of that substitutes for controlled testing on sleepers, with different weights and position. Meanwhile, those framed endorsements carry terms. A clinic may receive a stipend for in-office displays, or a doctor gets an honorarium for a webinar. The disclosure lives in small print or not at all on the sales floor. The pitch compresses nuance into a promise. Firm equals healthy, soft equals ache. Real bodies are messier. Side sleepers with sharp shoulders need pressure relief up top and steady support beneath. Back sleepers often need a firmer transition, not a rock-hard surface. Stomach sleepers need enough surface firmness to keep hips from diving, but also enough top compliance to avoid chest pressure. Orthopedic doesn't tell you which of those you are. Micro story, a contractor with chronic lumbar pain bought a doctor-recommended firm. Night 1, his hips hovered, his shoulder tingled when he turned. Night 7, he was sleeping with a pillow under his knees just to cope. He swapped to a build with 2 inches of higher density visco for pressure relief over a firmer, responsive transition and a zoned coil center. Same spine, different stack. His mornings stopped barking. What nobody tells you at the time is there's no universal prescription. There's a fitting process. Body weight, weight distribution, and sleep position change how a mattress behaves. A 110-pound side sleeper barely compresses the comfort layer. A 230-pound back sleeper plows through it into the transition. If the store's orthopedic badge sits on a thin comfort stack over soft transitions, heavier bodies will ham it. If the badge sits on a bored stiff top, lighter side sleepers will get numbness. Alignment and pressure need to be tuned together. Here is how the floor choreography props it up. Associates say, our chiropractors love this one, then nudge you onto a rigid firm that feels crisp for 2 minutes. They don't keep you there for 10 to see shoulder burn, or they steer everyone to a lumbar zoned graphic where the zoning is cosmetic, same foam, different stitch pattern. The tag does the talking, the coil gauge or foam density doesn't. Impact shows up in returns and unslept nights. Pain sufferers pin hope on labels, delay exchanges because the doctor said firm, and add toppers that fix pressure but wreck alignment or vice versa. Money flows to brand fees and endorsements instead of better materials. So how do you turn the lab coat back into cotton? Personalized support. Start with your profile, side, back, stomach, or combo, plus weight and shoulder hip width. For side sleepers, look for at least 2 inches of credible pressure relief, 4 or 5 PCF memory foam or quality latex, over a firmer transition so your shoulder sinks without your waist collapsing. For back sleepers, prioritize a supportive transition and coil unit, tempered coils, appropriate gauge, real center zoning, so hips don't drift. For stomach sleepers, favor surface firmness with a thin, responsive comfort layer to keep hips level. Test like a fitting, not a demo. Lie 10 minutes in your position covered. Check alignment, nose, sternum, navel in a line on your side. No pressure, any hot spots or numbness. Roll, do you fight a valley? If a doctor-recommended tag is present, ask for the basis. Was it a paid endorsement? Any published criteria? What densities, coil gauges, and layer thicknesses earn that label? If the answers are vague, treat the badge as decoration. Micro story? Emily asked a store with spine posters to show her the spec sheet behind the orthopedic claim. The associate brought a brochure. She pressed for densities, coil gauge, and zoning details. They called the rep. The zoning was a different colored fabric. She walked down the street to a quieter shop that measured her shoulder width, watched her alignment, and recommended a hybrid with higher density visco over a firmer, zoned coil. No Dr. Fode. Better morning. One breath takeaway. Pain relief isn't a label. Fit the build to your body by checking alignment and pressure over 10 minutes. Demand real specs behind medical claims, and let your spine, not a poster, make the call. Lie 15. Odor-free and non-toxic without context. The box hissed open and a sweet chemical note filled Emily's room. Psychological triggers, safety priming, green leaves, non-toxic, authority badges and optimism bias, zero odor claims override senses. The tag said odor-free. The FAQ said non-toxic. Her eyes watered anyway. She cracked the window and wondered which word she was supposed to believe, the copy or her nose. Here are the stakes. VOCs can trigger headaches, dizziness, and sleep disruption, especially for kids, pregnant people, and anyone with asthma or chemical sensitivities. Odor-free often means less smell than average, not no emissions. Non-toxic can mean meets a limit, not contains none. Action: how claims get stretched. A foam supplier might certify low VOC emissions for their slab. Marketing upgrades that to non-toxic mattress, skipping adhesives, fire barriers, and other foams. Some badges cover textile covers only. Others test ingredients lists, not chamber emissions from the finished product. A mattress can pass a component test and still off-gas when stacked, glued, and bagged hot. Micro story: a nursery mattress arrived with a leafy seal and zero odor on the webpage. The scope sheet, requested later, covered cotton ticking only. The core was standard poly foam with a laminated FR barrier. The room smelled new for 10 days. The brand replied, totally normal. Impact: trust erodes, return spike, sleep suffers. What actually helps? Whole mattress chamber emissions data, ventilation guidance, low odor adhesives, breathable covers, and time. Ask for scope sheets, request MSDS SDS for foams and FR layers, and air out. Unwrap outdoors, ventilate 48-72 hours, warm the room, and cycle airflow. If sensitivity is high, consider innerspring with natural latex and wool FR. One breath takeaway: verify scope, trust your nose, and let time and airflow work. Handmade, American, artisan, mostly marketing. Emily wanted to feel good about the buy, not just sleep well on it. Psychological triggers, in group favoritism, flag labels, authenticity bias, artisan, and moral licensing, feel-good provenance softens scrutiny. The badge that finally cracked her hesitation wasn't a discount or a star rating, it was a small stitched label. Handmade in America. The associate's voice softened when he said it, like he was introducing her to a person, not a product. She pictured a workshop, a row of craftspeople tugging twine through tufting needles, a family recipe handed down in foam and thread. The invoice suggested something else: a container arrival charge and a line item for final assembly. Here are the stakes: patriotism and craft sell premiums. When brands lean on handmade, American, artisan, or crafted, they're asking you to pay for provenance. But in mattresses, those words often describe assembly, not origin, finishing touches, not full build, marketing heritage, not material truth. You end up funding a story draped over global supply chains that do most of the heavy lifting. Action, how the romance gets written. Made in USA has rules, but furniture lives in the gray. A brand can import foam buns from overseas, cut them domestically, wrap them in a US-owned cover using imported yarns, and legally say assembled in the USA or made for at a domestic facility. Handmade can mean a person zipped the cover by hand or applied tape edge trim on a machine. True hand tufting exists, so does decorative quilting that looks like it. The factory floor blends both, because speed pays the bills. Micro story, a boutique showroom bragged handcrafted right here. The owner meant it. Final builds happened in a local plant, but a rep let slip that the latex arrived palletized from overseas, the coils came in pre-built from a national supplier, and the wool batting shipped from a third state. Quality wasn't the problem. The label's promise of local masked a truth. Most mattresses are assemblies of global parts, even when the last stapler is in your zip code. American can also hide private label stacking. A retailer points to our line, draped in vintage Americana. The tag reads made exclusively for that store by a contract manufacturer who also builds for competitors. The design tweaks might be real, different quilting, slightly altered foam thickness, but the bones are shared. You're buying a costume change and a story, not a different lineage. Then there's artisan. In food, it suggests small batch, hands-on. In bedding, it often means textured fabrics, natural fiber callouts, and a photo shoot in a barn. The cotton might indeed be organic. The wool might be shorn on a U.S. ranch. But the FR barrier could still be a laminated knit, and the glue could still be solvent-based. The page headline says natural. The bill of materials says composite. What nobody tells you at the time is there's a clean way to claim provenance, component by component. Coil origin, foam origin and pore location, latex type and source, fabric mill, FR system, assembly plant. When a brand publishes that map, American and handmade have weight. When they don't, assume those words describe the last 10 minutes of production, not the first 1,000 miles. Showroom choreography leans into the romance. Associates invite you to feel the stitching, see the hand tufts, and notice the tape edge. Those are tactile tells you're meant to equate with durability. They can matter. Hand tufting can reduce layer shift. Tape edge can stabilize borders, but neither guarantees higher density foams, tempered coils, or thicker comfort stacks. It's easy to spend $50 more on fabric and $50 less on foam density and still pass a 2-minute hand test. Micro story, a couple weighed 2 artisan builds. One had a lush, woven damask with hand-tufted rosettes and 1 inch of soft poly under it. The other looked plain but listed 3 inches of higher density latex over a zoned coil core. The first felt lush on touch, shallow on sleep. The second felt simple on touch, deep and steady after 10 minutes. The artisan in the first was on the outside. In the second, it was in the stack. Imported versus domestic components complicate the price. Latex poured in Europe or Asia can be excellent. US poured poly foam can be commodity or premium. A US assembled mattress can hide imported foams of unknown spec. A globally sourced one can beat it on emissions and density if the supplier is rigorous. American doesn't automatically mean safer or sturdier. Imported doesn't automatically mean cheap or bad. The question isn't country, it's standards, specs, and transparency. Impact hits your wallet and expectations. You pay a flagon needle premium and expect heirloom performance. But when the comfort layers are thin or low density, impressions still show up early. When handmade means hand-applied edge trim, the edge can still be foam that collapses. Disappointment sets in, not because the bed was foreign, but because the story outpaced the substance. So how do you buy the build, not the bunting? Ask for an origin breakdown by component. Where were the foams poured? Who made the coil unit and where? What's the FR system? Wool, rayon, silica, or chemical? And is it laminated or needle punched? Where is final assembly? Will they provide certificates or spec sheets beyond logos? A brand confident in provenance will answer in nouns and places, not just adjectives. Verify the craft claims. If it's hand-tufted, are the tufts structural through the entire stack or decorative on the quilt? If it's artisan, what's artisan about it? A custom cut-and-sew cover from a named mill or just a textured knit with a heritage font? If it's American, does that extend to foams and coils or just the final tape edge pass? Then go back to function, comfort layer thickness and density, coil gauge and tempering, edge reinforcement, breathable cover without heavy quilting, whole mattress emissions testing if that matters to you. Provenance is a bonus when the performance is right. It's expensive fluff when the performance is wrong. Micro story. Emily emailed 3 crafted in America brands the same list. Foam densities by layer, poor locations, coil supplier and gauge, FR system and assembly plant. One replied with a lifestyle video. One sent a spec sheet with missing densities and proprietary, stamped where the supplier should be. The third sent a clean matrix, named a domestic foam pourer, a known coil manufacturer, and a needle-punched wool FR, and admitted their knit was imported from Portugal because it held up better in wash tests. She bought the third. The flag wasn't the point. The candor was. One breath takeaway. Treat handmade and American as invites to ask harder questions. Get component origins and real specs, ignore fabric theater, and pay premiums only when the build justifies the story. Lie 17. Review stars you can't trust. Emily thought she'd cracked it. Bypassed the pitch, read the people. Psychological triggers, social proof, 4.8 stars, survivorship bias, who gets asked to review, and reciprocity, incentivized reviews skew positive. 4.8 stars across 2,000 reviews felt like a crowd vouching for her sleep. She clicked in. The 5 stars sounded like ads. The 1 stars were missing. No filter for them, no tab, just a page that wanted her to float on a sea of praise. Here are the stakes. You rely on stars to compress a complicated, expensive decision into a number. But those numbers get massaged by timing, by incentives, by selective publishing, and by who's even asked to leave feedback. The result is optimism bias baked into a rating that looks objective. You're not hearing the chorus. You're hearing a choir that was invited. Action, how the rating gets built. Most brands control the faucet. Post-purchase emails don't go out to everyone at once. They're sequenced and targeted. Happy customers, based on quick delivery confirmations or early survey answers, get nudged first with a single-click review link. Unhappy ones are routed to support forms that don't post to the public page. That's called a feedback gate. It's legal in some contexts, restricted in others, and everywhere in mattresses because returns are expensive and reviews drive conversion. Next, incentives. Leave a review for a chance to win a $200 gift card. Post a photo, get a free pillow. Those rewards skew who shows up and how they write. Photos earn badges that float to the top. Long negative reviews without photos sync. On brand-owned sites, moderation removes off-topic content, delivery complaints, financing issues. But those experiences shape how you feel about the bed. Buyers scrolling stars never see them. Seating matters too. New models launch with early access placements to ambassadors and affiliate reviewers who got the mattress free or at a deep discount. The disclosures live below the fold. The 5-star average forms above it. On marketplaces, programs like Vine or Early Reviewer put product in selected hands. Not inherently bad, early data is useful, but it's not the same as organic, unprompted feedback after months of sleep. Micro story, a new Glacier hybrid hit 4.9 stars within 3 weeks. Emily found 20 glowing reviews dated within 48 hours, all mentioning the brand name and model in the first sentence. I love my Glacier hybrid by a tell of templated prompts. She looked for after 3 months language. None. When she asked chat for the 1-star filter, the rep said, we don't host reviews that mention delivery, only product performance. Delivery had been the problem for a third of buyers on a separate forum. Meanwhile, affiliate economics tilt the playing field. Independent review sites that rank best mattress of 2025 often earn commissions on clicks, some publish disclosures, some bury them. Their business model rewards high-converting picks, not investigative contrarianism. If a brand pays a higher bounty, that link gets the big green button. If a brand withholds affiliate partnerships, it rarely lands at the top of best lists. The writing may be honest. The framework is not neutral. Selective syndication adds another layer. Brands can choose which retailer reviews to import onto their own site or which time frame to highlight. A rough quarter, set the widget to last 12 months next month and the average creeps up. Products that get quietly tweaked, new foam density, different cover, often keep the old reviews. You think you're buying what 4,000 people loved. You're buying version 2.3 under the same name. What nobody tells you at the time is that star distributions matter more than the average. A healthy product shows a wide bell of 4s and 5s, a meaningful slice of 3s with specifics, and honest 1s and 2s that mention edge cases. A suspicious wall of 5s with vague praise, best sleep ever, and thin mid-range suggests curation. Also, pay attention to review age spread. If most are clustered in the first month post-launch, you're reading a honeymoon, not a marriage. Impact, you overtrust a number and underweight specifics. You skip external sources, owner forums, consumer complaint databases, retailer pages that don't filter, and you miss patterns. Hot sleep in month 2, edge collapse for heavier bodies, warranty friction. You buy the wrong bed, returns climb. The cycle you've been trying to escape, buy, regret, swap, keeps spinning. So how do you read past the gloss? Start with the 3s. People who leave 3 stars usually want the product to work and will list pros and cons. Look for repeat complaints over time. Runs hot after hour 3. Hip sink at 220 pounds. Pickup took 3 weeks. Search the page for keywords tied to your profile. Side sleeper, back pain, hot sleeper. Heavier, lightweight. If you can't filter, use your browser's fine tool. Cross-check off-platform. Pull the same model on a big box retailer's site and sort by most recent, then lowest rating. Hit independent forums and subreddits where owners post over months, not days. Check the Better Business Bureau or your country's complaint database for themes, returns, financing, warranty thresholds. On affiliate sites, scroll to the disclosure and note the relationship. Balance their ranking with sources that don't earn on your click. Assess recency and versioning. If the brand admits to a new cooling cover or updated support core, consider older reviews a different product. Ask support for the change date and search reviews after that. If the model name includes 2024 but you're buying in 2025, press for what changed and why. Micro story. Emily almost bought a 4.8-star Cool Sleep model until she found a 300-comment thread on an owner forum about mid-depth sag at 6 months for side sleepers over 180 pounds. The brand site had 2 mentions of softness change. Both were 5-star. Still love it posts. A retailer page where the brand couldn't filter showed a normal star curve and a 3.9 average. She pivoted to a build with disclosed densities and fewer adjectives. Her nights got quieter. One breath takeaway. Don't buy a number. Read 3-star details. Cross-check off the brand's site. Search for your body profile and treat curated stars as marketing, not measurement. The Playbook. How not to get scammed buying a mattress. Let's turn exposure into a plan. Emily didn't win by getting lucky. She won by running a checklist and refusing to buy a story. You can do the same in 6 moves. Define, verify, test, price, execute, and protect. Start before you leave the house. Define your sleep profile in writing, your weight, height, primary position, side-back stomach combination, shoulder and hip width, and any pain points. Add your room constraints, doorway width, stair turns, ceiling height over the bed, and the base you'll use. Note your temperature tendencies and partner dynamics, weight differences, motion sensitivity, edge use. Then set a hard budget ceiling including tax, delivery, base, protector, and any financing fees. This prevents a $1,499 mattress from becoming a $2,200 checkout because the base wasn't included. Now decide your shortlist by build, not brand. If you're a side sleeper with broader shoulders, you likely need at least 2 inches of credible pressure relief on top, higher density memory foam or quality latex over a supportive transition and a stable core. If you're a back sleeper over 190 pounds, prioritize a firmer transition and a tempered coil unit with real center zoning. Stomach sleepers need surface firmness that keeps hips up without chest pressure. Lighter comfort layers, responsive transitions. Write what you think you need. You'll test it. In the store or online chat, flip the conversation from names to numbers. Ask for a layer-by-layer map above the core, thickness in inches and density in pounds per cubic foot for each foam. If it's memory foam, 4-5 PCF is a sturdier bet than 3 PCF for most adults. For polyfoam, look for 182 PCF or better. For latex, note type Dunlop/Talalay and ILD as a clue, not a verdict. For hybrids, ask for coil gauge, tempering, and edge design, reinforced edge coils, or just foam rails. Real center zoning by wire spec or just a graphic. If someone says proprietary, ask for ranges. If they won't provide any, assume marketing is doing more work than materials. Use ILD, IFD as a translator, not a destination. A soft latex at 1419 ILD feels and behaves differently than soft visco at low ILD but high density. Pair those numbers with thickness. 3 inches of medium over medium rides different than 2 inches of soft over firm. Your body reads the stack. You're trying to predict how your shoulder, hips, and waist will travel through that stack over hours, not seconds. Test like a sleeper. 10 minutes covered in your actual position. On your side, check alignment, nose, sternum, navel in a straight line. If your waist collapses, you need more top support or a firmer transition. If your shoulder jams or goes numb, you need more credible pressure relief. On your back, note whether your hips dip. If they do, the transition or core isn't carrying load. Roll both ways. If you fight a valley or get stuck, expect heat and restless nights. Sit on the edge for 30 seconds. If it caves or leaves an imprint, your usable width just shrank. Stress test cooling without the showroom magic. Ignore first touch cold gimmicks. Focus on airflow, breathable knit, minimal heavy quilting, fewer glued layers, open cell foams, and coil cores for convective escape. If a protector is part of your plan, test with one on. Plasticky protectors turn good builds into saunas. Don't let financing rewire the deal. If you need a plan, ask if it's true % equal pay with no deferred interest and no retroactive backdating. Get the clause in writing or a screenshot. If it's deferred interest, either walk or set auto pay to a fixed amount that kills the promo at least 30 days early. Verify the promo balance on every statement. If there are multiple promos, allocate payments to the earliest end date. Price check without chasing fake sales. Track price history on the model you're considering, screenshots, retailer pages, deal trackers, so 50% off doesn't anchor you. Ask for an out-the-door quote, mattress, base, protector, delivery, setup, haul-away, taxes, and fees. If they won't give an itemized lineup, that's a signal. Ask if paying with your card gets a better price than using the store card. Sometimes the instant savings equals the value of staying off a private label account. Vet returns up front. In writing, confirm the minimum trial, the maximum window, whether the outcome is a refund or only an exchange, any pickup or restocking fees for your zip code, and who schedules pickup, brand, third party, or you with a donation. Ask which donation partners accept mattresses in your town and their schedules. Screenshot and save. Put the last eligible return date on your calendar with reminders at 2 and 1 weeks. Protect the warranty you're paying for. Use a breathable waterproof protector from night 1. Confirm base requirements, get the spec and snap a photo of your base setup. Stains void claims, don't give them an easy out. Photograph the mattress top and law, tag at delivery. If impressions appear, measure with a string and ruler, note the depth and document early, even if it's below the threshold, so you have a timeline if it worsens. Shop across ownership, not just signage. If 2 rivals share a back office, you're not cross-shopping, you're touring a funnel. Ask a local independent to build to spec or match layer specs. Many will, and they'll disclose more. If you're buying online, ask for component scope sheets, MSDS, SDS for foams and FR systems, and whole mattress emissions test data if that matters to you. Read reviews like an investigator. Start with 3-star reviews for specifics. Filter or search for side sleeper, hot, edge, sag, and your weight range. Cross-check the same model on a retailer that the brand doesn't control. Hit owner forums and complaint databases to see how returns, financing, and warranty claims actually play out. Finally, decide with your body, not the brochure. If the plain knit model with disclosed densities, tempered coils, and an honest comfort stack keeps you aligned and cool after 10 minutes, that's your bed, even if it has 0 snowflakes, no copper, no doctor photo, and a boring name. Your bed should be built for your body, not for a brochure. When you buy materials and alignment instead of adjectives, the marketing stops sleeping in your spot. Subscribe for more truth-first guides, share this with the friends stuck in mattress purgatory, and watch the next episode where we map the hidden tactics behind everyday eco labels. Links right here.